The healthy practices of the coach principle are partly responsible for people with increased health spans. Curiosity, openness, associations, conscientiousness, and healthy practices. The people I've encountered who are still contributing to society, the arts, and the science, to their communities, and to their families, and doing all five of these. What is intelligence? Intrinsic motivation is always more powerful than extrinsic motivation. Even geniuses work hard. The way describes the two kinds of mindset we can adopt: fixed versus growth, and they relate to a locus of control. As with most things, these two mindsets refer to ends of a continuum. Few people are entirely one or the other in all aspects of their life. People with a fixed mindset, believe that their qualities and abilities don't change. People with a growth mindset believe that they can change their skill sets, they can continue to learn. What are age-appropriate goals? They require frank self-assessment. Okay, frank self-assessment. Frank self-assessment. A degradation of your circadian rhythms. The word circadian was coined by scientists in the 1950s from the Latin words in approximately and beyond, a rhythm that operates on a cycle of around 24 hours. Predicting when the sun will rise allows the brain to release wake-up chemicals such as resin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, and to suppress endogenous chemicals such as melatonin, adenosine, and GABA. They might make us want to roll over and go back to sleep. The inner clock lets us wake up in the morning refreshed and ready to go. Biological clocks evolved early in evolutionary history, when most cells were light sensitive. Activity is synchronized within a light cycle. The clocks are wired into genes. Plants use photosynthesis and internal cellular clocks to detect the length of day. Biological clocks help plants prepare for the sunlight by raising their leaves and tilting them towards the sun, and preparing their internal factories to perform photosynthesis, converting sunlight into the nutrients. So much so that when tissue from the biological clocks of young animals has been transplanted into the older animals, the older animals live longer. The master clock in mammals, circadian rhythms rely on three separate processes. An input system is to take in information from the environment, consisting of cues such as the sun, light to dark cycles, and food consumption that received via peripheral oscillators. A central master oscillator or clock that keeps track of the time, input events, and can generate consistent rhythmic signals. To regulate them, we evolved a master clock. In humans, this is located within hypothalamus in a structure called suprachiasmatic nucleus, or an SEN. The developmental science approach seeks to understand the interaction between genes, culture, and opportunity. Biological clocks are a fascinating example of this. They function by taking input from the environment, primarily light, but also your eating schedule and your own activity cycle, which are influenced by culture. Sleep hygiene. If you're sleep deprived, which refers not just to the amount of sleep you've gotten over the past few days, but also to the quality of the sleep. You will tend to notice and pause the lunch dip more, and you will notice it more as you age. Sleep hygiene involves avoiding bright lights in a paper bed, sleeping in a completely dark room, get blackout curtains if you need to, and going to bed and waking at the same time every day. Now that you know about these circadian rhythms, this makes sense. Your biological clock expects you to go to sleep at a certain point within a 24-hour cycle. It adjusts your core body temperature through slow digestion, releases melatonin, represses dopamine, and oversees a dozen of the regulations. If you go to sleep earlier or later than usual, these cycles little of the sync with the fact that you're sleeping. Sleep quality is impaired. Diet is important too. Eating within 2 hours at bedtime can decouple the central circadian rhythms from those in the liver, stomach, and intestine. What you eat can also be a factor. Alcohol is known to disrupt sleep cycles and circadian rhythms, and high-fat diets tend to advance in a clock. A practical implication of this is that if you need to stay up late and eat fatty foods like those pictured in virtually every late-night TV commercials, light therapy and melatonin treatments are the most effective means of resetting the circadian clock, especially in the aged. They are also effective in people with an Alzheimer's-related or mild cognitive impairment. Isn't it possible that these treatments may also prevent or delay onset of Alzheimer's disease itself? Melatonin treatment, cognitive performance improved, and agitated behavior was reduced. You may have heard of the seasonal affective disorder, which causes mood and concentration disturbances and is triggered by the shorter, greater days of winter. Melatonin levels tend to rise about 14 hours after waking up. If you eat 8 hours and sleep every night and wake up at 6 a.m., that means your melatonin levels will naturally rise about 8 p.m. and you will start to get sleepy and go to bed at 2 hours and after that around 10 p.m. If it takes about an hour for the melatonin pill to get absorbed in your bloodstream, that means taking one about 3 hours before bedtime. The next most effective treatment after light therapy and melatonin is an moderate late afternoon or early evening exercise, like going outside for a walk. The combination of all three is the best. Caffeine. Caffeine is one of the most widely consumed mind-alerting substances in the world. For many people, it enhances wakefulness, alertness, and focus, and can assist in establishing and changing circadian rhythms, particularly when crossing time zones. Peak performance. At the beginning of the book, I introduced the concept of health span versus a disease span, the amount of time you're able to avoid a declining health and live in a fully productive and self-sufficient life. There is a parallel concept called productive span that can apply not just to an arc of your life, but also to the arc of a single day. There are times of the day when you're at your best, and then other times when you're not. It is about in 5 hours after waking up every single day. For me, the most obvious explanation for this is that there are individual differences among the athletes and differences in the demands of the various sports. I've touched on the ways in which the effectiveness of eating, exercising, and sleeping in maintaining optimal health and vigor depend on our body's natural rhythms. You can see that they are connected through the circadian rhythms. Their decoupling can cause problems, especially in old age when our bodies are less resilient. In the next 3 chapters, I will double-click on these 3 key components of our daily lives to reveal more of what we know about optimizing and tweaking them to give us a maximized benefit. just close the window for efficiency of breathing because when I feel kind of pollution of air outside, so I just want to close the window and I focus reading this book again. Okay, diet. Now my BS dictator is kicking in. Writing best-selling books does not make an authority, and in fact, tomatoes are good for you, especially when cooked. As is shown in solid peer-reviewed studies, the lycopene that continues to decrease the risk of prostate and breast cancer, heart disease, osteoporosis, and other chronic diseases. Now my BS editor is going haywire, performing surgeries, whether it's 1 or 10,000. Doesn't give you any scientific data on what people should eat. By the end of the ad, we learned that he's just selling a line of supplements to be created. Every 10 years or so, it seems the scientists have a completely different view of what we should and shouldn't eat to promote longevity and health. And the Middle East diet, okay, the no-fat diet, and the no-carbohydrate diet, and all-carb diet is the paleo diet. First, fat was the enemy, then sugar, then carbs, which break down into sugars. You've been forgiven for thinking the scientists don't know what they're talking about. The problem here has to do with economics and logistics and properly applying the scientific methods. The scientific problem is that people who eat different foods may have other differences as well that we are not keeping track of. Different tendencies to exercise or not, sleep duration, attitude toward medicine, hydration, different daily stresses endured. Someone had just lost their job, another just had their first child, another is a heroin addict, and another is a professional athlete, and so on and so forth. This goes to the core theme of personal psychology and the individual differences versus generalizations neuroscience allows. What would you really want is able to do, take a people who are identical in every lifestyle metric, and then tell them exactly what to eat, putting them in one variable completely under the experimental's control. We infer that smoking is bad, but it has not been shown in controlled experiments in humans, just in rodents and monkeys. Similarly, we infer that saturated fats and sugars are bad, but we don't have controlled experiments that prove it. So the history of dietary research has been hobbled by the lack of a controlled experiment, and by the very real possibility that there are individual differences in the ways that people metabolize food and nutrients, their glucose metabolism, the activity of lipoprotein lipase, an enzyme that promotes fat storage versus fat oxidation, and the genetic factors. On average, diet A may seem to be better than diet B, but for some people, there might be differences. What is clear is that there is no data yet to help clinicians in matching a patient's food metabolic genotype to an optimally beneficial diet. The new field of nutrigenomics promises to fill this gap. But these gaps don't mean that we know nothing. The late 15 years of research have moved us closer to the goal of understanding how diet affects health, well-being, and longevity. Our digestive systems today are a product of tens of thousands of years of hominid evolution. Our ancestors are Paleolithic age, about 50,000 years ago, subsisted by gathering plants and fishing, and by hunting or scavenging wild animals. As a result, their diet was primarily meat, fish, fruits, vegetables, roots, eggs, and nuts. This is so-called Paleolithic diet or paleo diet. This diet is based on the fact that we have not able to eat the high amount of sugar, salt, or saturated animal fats that are the typical American diet. The job produces new technology and industrial food production that our bodies, our genetics, have not yet caught up to. Although the terms such as purify, detoxify, and energize may sound impressive, they are generally used to uncover a lack of scientific proof. There are only few known toxins, for example lead, and these treatments do nothing to remove them. Mayor also advises consumers to beware of testimonials. Anecdotes from individuals who have used a product that is no substitute for the evidence from the scientific research. If the product's claims were effective with hard evidence, the purveyor would say so, pointing to your peer-reviewed and scientific studies. Just remember, the plural of anecdote is not data. In other words, an anecdote is simply the observation or story that comes from uncontrolled conditions. True scientific data comes from a systematic attempt to isolate variables, document conditions, and observe trends over a large number of cases. The diet group, another control group, also quit smoking, exercised more, and attended stress management counseling. The people in the control group were told to do none of those things, as Scientific American reported. It's hardly surprising that quitting smoking, exercising, reducing stress, and dieting, when done together, improves our health. But the fact that participants were making all of these lifestyle changes means that we cannot make any inferences about the effect of diet alone. Antioxidants, when an atom, molecule, or an ion has an impaired electron, it is unstable and is called a free radical. Free radicals are produced and other times as your cells convert glucose to energy. But damage to the mitochondria, a subunit of the cell, found inside most cells of your body, can also lead to increase in the production of free radicals. And so can consuming certain substances such as fried foods and alcohol, tobacco, smoke, pesticides, and air pollutants. Free radicals, because they're unstable, can cause damage to the DNA and the cell membranes by grabbing their electrons and actually in a process called oxidation. Soon the whole thing has snowballed and out of control. In the meantime, all of these molecules within free radicals can perform their cell functions improperly, and you get oxidative stress. Antioxidants often work by donating an electron to the free radical before it can damage all cell components. Once the electrons in the free radical are paired, the free radicals are stabilized and it becomes non-toxic. Oxidative stress is believed to underlie a wide range of diseases, including cancer, diabetes, and neurological disorders such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease, and to shorten lifespan. It causes high LDL levels and low density lipoprotein, the bad cholesterol, and accumulation of flakes, and they can lead to heart disease. It even plays a role in the developing of wrinkles. It's been known since the 1960s that free radicals accelerate the aging process, and the reduction of free radicals can delay aging. The big question is whether dietary antioxidants can mitigate the damage done by oxidation of free radicals. The matter is further confused by the fact that there is no universal agreement among scientists about which molecules are antioxidants and which aren't. Some of the well-known substances that are often mentioned as antioxidants are retinol, vitamin A, beta-carotene, a precursor of retinol, ascorbic acid, vitamin C, vitamin E, flavonoids, and some omega fatty acids. Sometimes zinc can function as an antioxidant. The definition of antioxidants can be very broad because they can act either directly or indirectly, and any substances that can detoxify free radicals might be just called antioxidants. Selenium, for example, doesn't act directly but can deoxidize in certain reactive oxygen species through indirect action. Tocopherol vitamin E, on the other hand, acts directly by donating a hydrogen atom. At issue in part isn't whether the mere fact that a food or supplement molecule can donate a hydrogen atom to free radical means that is real, living organisms evolve, and that is working like we think it should. We don't know. Recall the discussion about glucosamine supplementation in chapter 7 on pain. Taking cartilage in a pill might seem that it should have to encourage breakdown in your body, but the body doesn't work like that. The same principle applies to the substances in the foods we eat, such as antioxidants and cholesterol. They don't necessarily have the effect that you might think. There is modest research evidence that eating antioxidants in food is beneficial. The problem is that there have not been enough rigorous studies on antioxidant foods to draw any definitive conclusions. Recent meta-analysis found that there were no randomized controlled trials. All studies were judged to be moderate to substantial risk of bias. There is even less than evidence to support taking antioxidant supplements. For example, one study followed nearly 40,000 women for 10 years. Have were randomly assigned to take a vitamin supplement and have taken a placebo. After 10 years, the vitamin E had a significantly reduced the risk of heart attack, stroke, or cancer. The result of other randomized controlled trials with a range of antioxidant supplements, including beta-carotene, vitamin C and C, and selenium, did not show reductions in cancer. For gastrointestinal cancers, the supplements actually increased in all-cause mortality. A meta-analysis reviewed the results of the studies with more than 290,000 people and found no effect on antioxidant supplements on cardiovascular disease. Antioxidant supplementation might be interfering with the immune system or with the defense mechanisms responsible for elimination of impaired cells. For some subsets of the population with a really poor diet or for pregnant women, supplements may be helpful, but the scientific evidence is still wanting. Many supplement studies fail because they study only one supplement at a time, which doesn't mimic anything like an actual food. Actual foods can contain fiber, micronutrients, and beneficial gut bacteria that supplements lack. And the lesson some antioxidants, vitamin C and E, have been shown to block the health and promoting effects on physical exercise. Cholesterol is a wasted substance in the circulation in your blood and attaches to the proteins there. Your body uses cholesterol to build healthy cells, including brain cells, but high levels in a certain form of cholesterol can increase your risk of heart disease. When cholesterol combines with proteins and resulting in a molecule is called a lipoprotein. Low-density lipoprotein LDL, the bad cholesterol, transports cholesterol particles through your outer body. It can build up in the walls of your arteries, making them hard and narrow, and causing atherosclerosis. High-density lipoprotein HDL, the good cholesterol, picks up excess cholesterol and takes it back to your liver, which can remove it from your body. Unhealthy eating habits and obesity can raise your bad cholesterol levels, and lack of physical activity can lower your good cholesterol levels. Smoking does both, especially in women, by damaging the walls of blood vessels and make them more likely to accumulate LDL deposits. LDL levels naturally rise with age, making healthy lifestyle habits increasingly important, especially after age 50. There is a genetic component as well. The rate at which bad cholesterol climbs and the ability of physical activity to increase. Good cholesterol are partly inherited. If you're adopting healthy lifestyle habits and physical activity, improve diet, doesn't optimize your cholesterol levels, and there are medications that can lower LDL, statins, and for extreme cases, and there's a producer called the lipoprotein that usually filter machine to remove LDLs from the blood. You do need fats in your diet. They are a major source of energy and they are necessary for building the myelin sheaths and around neurons and for maintaining strong, healthy cells. But not all fats are created equal. The main types are saturated fats and found in meats, eggs, and whole fat dairy products. Monounsaturated fats are found in olive and canola oil, and polyunsaturated fats are found in seeds, nuts, and fish and vegetable oils, and trans fats are found in fried foods and microwave popcorn and some commercially baked goods. Saturated fats are no longer considered an enemy of heart health, but a meta-analysis in 72 studies Hidden focus. Tracking 600,000 people in 18 countries shows no association between the consumption of saturated fats and heart disease. None. Now, this is not a controlled experiment. It may be the people in a study who ate saturated fat got more exercise. There are much genetic differences in the way the body's metabolizing saturated fats. But the real culprit in the analysis was in trans fats, the ones found in fried foods, potato chips, and other junk food. Diets high in soluble fibers are good because the fiber binds to the cholesterol molecules in the digestive system and drags them out of the body before they get into the circulation. Some good sources of soluble fibers are oats, oatmeal, Cheetos, and Trader Joe's and oats, barley, and other whole grains and beans, including soybeans and soy milk, high fiber fruits and apples, and strawberries, and citrus. The pectin can contain soluble fiber, eggplant, okra, fatty fish, liquid vegetable oils, and nuts. Just 2 ounces of nuts in a day can lower an LDL by 5%. Diets high in omega-3 fatty acids, as found in fatty fish and seeds, especially chia flocks and hemp, nuts, especially walnuts and olive and canola oils, and also lower LDL and reduce the risk of heart disease by 7%. And soluble fibers and whole grain, vegetables, and whole grains are also healthy because they prevent constipation and diverticulosis. The emerging picture is that dietary consumption of fats, even saturated ones, is not the cause of heart disease, but rather inflammatory processes that cause cholesterol to build up in arteries where it is the alpha linoleic acid and polyphenols and omega-3 fatty acids present in nuts and actually virgin olive oil, vegetables, and other fish, and rapidly attenuate inflammation and coronary thrombosis. Calorie restriction. A calorie-restricted diet. When you have easy access to food and nutrients and your physiological stress levels are low, your genes and support cellular growth and reproduction. In contrast, and under harsh conditions, genetic activity shifts towards cell maintenance and protection. A number of stresses mediate the reaction, and calorie restriction is one of the most robust, working in many species and from Mysteria elegans, from mice to primates. For years, it wasn't though that calorie restriction really slows down organisms' metabolism and therefore slows down the rate of it which cellular damage accumulates. Okay, I cannot focus anymore, so I should stop here. I'll see I can read more later or not. Okay.